Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hooligan Report. We've been away for a week or so, 2 weeks I guess. We've got Cooksen along,
Hello.
and we've also got Bojan
Hi guys.
coming to us from the other side of the world.
Yep.
Waiting for the Tommy accent to develop, mate. It shouldn't be too long.
Well, I'm hanging around with a fair few of them at the moment, but hasn't quite developed yet.
We missed last week's podcast, so we'll touch on the last set of EPL games. So we might as well start with your boys' game, since that was the early one, up against Sunderland, and it wasn't a great result, though it's kind of become a typical result, I suppose, of this season. So how did you guys see this one?
Somewhere between dreadful and fucking atrocious.
Wait, what minute did they score in? Was it like the fourth or fifth minute?
Yeah.
Oh dear. What did you think, Bojan?
Well, it's certainly the first time I've ever seen United played off the park by Sunderland. Tell you that much.
Well, they used to have Agent Bruce there, so he didn't do much for them.
No, seeing him, but usually, Shazy and Wes Brown help us out, but not so much this time. But mate, the only worst performance I think I've ever seen from United was the one in the Europa League. It was so
Well, yeah,
bad.
we can touch on that as well. Actually, I forgot we've had those ones as well.
Do you want to
Um,
touch on that now?
well, yeah, sure, bring it all in. Bring in all the United misery at once.
The
May as well
United misery and
get it
one?
out of the way.
Honestly, mate, but
Well,
it was on at a pretty good time for me here. It was on about 5:30, and quite comfortably the worst United performance I've ever seen. It was an absolute disgrace from the players by and large. Quite clearly not playing for Van Gaal, to Van Gaal being so reactive, waiting till Midgetland scored before bringing on a sub, and when it was perfectly obvious to anyone watching the game that Schneiderlin had to be out there. To stop them. The tactics were, quite frankly, appalling. And usually when a team stops playing for their manager, the manager gets replaced. And for some reason, Woodward thinks he's going to go against history and keep Van Gaal there. It's all going to work out. It's not going to happen. He needs to get rid of him right now, or else it's going to turn into an absolute disaster.
At this rate, you're looking likely to miss the top four, which would deny you Champions League, and you're also likely to get knocked out of Europa, which could, well, not likely, but you're on your way to getting knocked out of Europa, which should also deny
Hey,
you Champions
if we
League.
play the way we did a couple of days ago at home, we'll get beat. It
Yeah,
was that bad.
yeah.
So
And
it's not too much of a stretch to think that we could get knocked out by this mob if we don't turn up.
does this not suggest that, well, as you're saying, Van Gaal needs to go right now, but what is it at the club's management that is suggesting that he shouldn't be sacked, given the fact that you're very likely to miss out on that huge revenue stream from the Champions League?
the only reason why he's not been sacked is either Chelsea has got some stipulation saying you can't manage again till the summer.
For Mourinho, but surely you bring in Giggs in that case.
Yeah, but Giggs doesn't want to be interim manager.
Well, he was when Moyes got sacked.
Yeah, that was 4 games, so we're looking at probably 20-ish games if we do well, and what was it, 13 or so league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, though it is quite annoying because the Glazers run an NFL team. And an NFL team, they probably have a coach for the bloody Gatorade they serve. And it was all good because Fergie could do everything at the club. He could director of football, manager, tactics, literally everything revolved around him. And they've just tried to replicate the same things with Fergie with other people, and it doesn't work. We need completely new management at the footballing level. We need people to work together, and we need more people to do Fergie's old jobs.
I mean, if Giggs doesn't want to come in for the 12 or 13 league games and however many cup games you have, and that's not to suggest that you could always get an upset against Shrewsbury and get through to the next round of the cup to give you more FA Cup matches, but surely you bring in another manager as an interim manager like Chelsea have with Hiddink, who's already acknowledged he has no intention of being there past the end of the season. There's people like dare I say, Rafa Benitez and others who are, without a
No
manager. Well,
way.
my point is that there are decent caliber managers out of work at the moment, Nigel Pearson and other, who are out of work at the moment and who can do the job, and I would dare say might, at the rate you're going with Van Gaal, nothing's going to change, nothing's going to improve. And if you bring in
Correct.
literally anyone else, the only it can only go in one direction. It could either keep going the way it's going, in which case you've lost nothing, or it can improve.
Well,
I'm not literally suggesting to, you appoint Nigel Pearson, but surely there's somebody that you can bring in.
yeah, there is, mate. And I'll tell you what, if Ryan Deitch doesn't want to be an interim manager at United, well, then he can piss off too. They should get rid of him. If he doesn't want to do it, then they should get rid of him, honestly. But yeah, if they want to look internally and Deitch doesn't want to do it, then they should give it to Warren Joyce,
Yeah.
who was the under-21s manager, has them top of the league, and they're just dominating. The under-18s hadn't won for 14 straight games. So under the academy restructure, Warren Joyce goes down to the under-18s. The bottom of the ladder hadn't won in 14 games. They win 2 on the bounce, 3-0. He's got to manage. He's got to coach. And he plays, he plays the old school United way.
He was Hull's manager for a little while, I believe, back in the day.
Oh, really?
I think that might actually be where the connection between the two clubs came from when we started nicking all your players around 2010. I'll just look it up. I'm pretty sure. Oh, he might have actually played for Hull as well. Yeah, that's right. So he played with us for 4 years, 96 to 2000, and then was our player manager for 2 years from 98 to 2000. So there you go.
It doesn't really matter who you bring in. You just need to get rid of Van Gaal.
He actually was in charge during our Great Escape, so there you go. Yeah, so surely, as you're saying, even if you do something internally with Joyce or with anyone else, Giggs or whoever it is, it's got to be better than the alternative of sticking with Van Gaal.
Yeah, he's lost the players. He knows he's gone. Everyone knows it. Rooney's been injured. Essentially, Rooney has kept Van Gaal in a job by scoring in January.
Yeah.
That's recently what I heard. But I'm sorry, but we shouldn't be losing to FC Midget Land.
But if as you're saying that Rooney scoring is keeping him in a job, that's implying that in some way results are keeping him in the job, and you can't say that the results overall have been in any way positive or in any way good enough to keep him in that job, regardless of what Rooney's done for you in January.
Well, that's all what I heard. That's one of the rumors going around.
I'm not denying that you've heard it. I'm just saying if that is the case, then that's a pretty stupid way to operate, I would think.
Woodward doesn't want to sack him because that'd be 2 managers in a row that he's got wrong.
Yeah.
That's
Although
what
Moyes wasn't really his fault, so I'm not sure why he would think that.
I don't know. He just wants to be loved.
Well, we might move on then. We'll have more chance to chat about United when we preview the FA Cup and also your league game. But we'll turn to Chelsea, who've had a bit of a resurgence under Gus Hiddink, and they won 5-1 against Newcastle. How high can you guys see them finishing? They're only 2 points behind Everton now, so they're not really. It's not really outside the realms of possibility that they could get a top 8 or a top 6 finish now.
Ooh. Oh, how much points they got? 33. Possibly up to 6th or 5th.
If
they finished above you, what would that say about your season?
I don't even want to think about that. But they should be able to get enough points to escape relegation now, you'd think.
They're on their way. They need 8 more points, so 7 more points, yeah. Almost at the magic 40. And what does it say about Newcastle? 5-1 losers. Townsend scored a decent goal for them, but they're back in the relegation zone after Norwich got a 2-2 draw with West Ham. So both northeast clubs stuck in the relegation zone for the moment, though Sunderland might pull out of it. It's looking a bit concerning for both of them. They've been there for most of the season, and you can't really see where that's. Newcastle traditionally have kind of gone on little bits of runs of form that have kind of pushed them out of that danger zone, but it's hard to see where it's going to come from this year.
They still have the same two centre halves they had when they got relegated like 5 years ago. That's the problem. They're spending all this money on mediocre wingers and attacking midfielders and this kind of stuff. And at the heart of their problem is defensively they're a shambles.
Mbemba's
Um,
a centre back though, but has he been injured for them? Because I haven't
I
heard
think
much about
so.
him lately. Yeah,
Just they're still playing Colaccini and Taylor.
yeah.
Pretty much, they should spend less money on buying mediocre wingers and players like Andros Townsend.
Yeah, well, Shelvey and Townsend both coming in January is kind of a weird one when you've already got, Wijnaldum and Mitrovic and players like that who can play out wide or in a more of attacking role. When, as you say, I mean, they've had defensive issues all season.
All season, all decade.
um, Another side that's had defensive issues, sandwiched between probably the two games of the round. Aston Villa getting flogged 6-0 by Liverpool. Six different scorers for Liverpool, which I think is almost a record, and the record was set by Chelsea against Aston Villa when they won 8-1, I think it was. They had 7 different scorers, so huge win for Liverpool. And it's almost the nail in the coffin for Villa, isn't it? I mean, I can't see them coming back from here, if they were ever going to come back.
Nah, Villa are they're gone. They're just dreadful.
And a good sign for Liverpool, I suppose. They've got the League Cup final this weekend. So good signs ahead of that they're sort of getting back to their attacking best under Klopp. Of course, the last time they faced City, they won 4-1, right in that little purple patch they had with him. So that bodes well for them.
Oh,
Can
you
you
should
read
hope.
too much into that?
I mean, it's Klopp. He's probably going to sign some more players, wear them into the ground. They'll pull their hammies, and then he'll probably get sacked. I mean, Klopp's probably.
What do you reckon Klopp would have to do for Liverpool to sack him though? Because I mean they have such a high opinion of him. He'd almost have to get them do
Oh, no,
a
he
Mourinho
could-
and have them down in the relegation zone.
Well, he could just come out and say Luis Suarez is not a Liverpool legend.
Jod would.
But
I think his head would explode. He wouldn't know who to back.
He's probably kicking himself because he realised, oh, if I waited till December, I could have been United manager.
Well, Arsenal's
have-
always the club I picked him going to.
Nah, two different contrasting football styles. One's counter
Klopp-
rock and roll football, and the other is Jurgen Klopp.
For Klopp
And
to
what-
get sacked, he'd have to trip up Steven Gerrard so he fell on the ground at Anfield and then take a shit on his face. That's about the only way he'd get sacked. They adore him. He's like
Yeah.
the second coming of fucking Shankly.
Brendan Rodgers, I thought you were
Even,
going to say.
even though he's
given
done
how
fuck
high,
all well.
given
well,
how
that's
high
the
Brendan
kind
Rodgers
of-
thought of himself.
That's the whole like delusion, isn't it? The
Yeah.
fact that they think he's the second coming of Shankly, and everyone says, "Well, his record's worse than Rodgers."
It's gonna be interesting to see how they go in that cup final. I believe they have Europa. Is the Europa? It's this week, isn't it? So they've got
Yeah.
their
Some
second leg
random
against
team.
Augsburg, yeah, which they played a very strong side against at in the away leg, presumably in the hope that they could get up a 2 or 3 goal buffer so they could play the kids in the return leg. But now they probably have to play a half decent side in it. So
Do they have a half decent side?
probably not. I mean, Sturridge is fit now, which at least is a good sign for them for the 2 or 3 weeks that he'll stay fit.
Definitely.
Alex back on loan from Hospital FC.
Well, so's Welbeck. It's been a week for injured strikers to come back, and Welbeck's picked his time to come back with I think with his
That's
second
alright.
touch scored the winning goal against Leicester. So in 2 touches he has more league goals than Eden Hazard for the season. But in a contest of the two teams at the top of the table, Arsenal came out on top 2-1 in a pretty thrilling match, probably the match of the round. Did you guys catch it?
Yeah. Game against Leicester, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very, very even, and that sending off was ridiculous on Simpson. The ref got a bit ahead of himself, and it was very surprising to see Welbeck finish. Because it's not something he's not really known for, to be honest.
It was
Um,
interesting though. I mean, I don't know if you remember, we talked about it a bit on the podcast at the time. Last season against Manchester City, we were up 1-0 thanks to a Myler goal, of course, scoring in the
oh,
big matches.
were you
And
above him in the league?
probably not. At the time, in the 90th, no, 92nd minute, Huddleston fouled. I can't remember who it was, right on the edge of the box, and James Milner scored an absolute screamer of a free kick to equalise the match. And when
Yeah.
Lazarewski fouled, was it Özil? Or who got fouled? Was it Sanchez maybe who got fouled in the Leicester game in a very similar position? I just had this sense that it was going to be a goal, and sure enough, the Özil free kick goes in, and Tony Welbeck pokes home, and it could have a big say on the title race.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Leicester come back from this. Like Ranieri gave the players a week off, which was kind of cool that managers will still do that kind of thing when it's needed, as opposed to flood them all week on the track.
Hi, Klopp.
Do you guys think it would have been better for Leicester to have had a game 3 days later, or to have had this break where they can sort of clear their heads? Is it the sort of loss where you'd want to just get right back out there and play the next game because there might be a danger that it would kind of burn in their heads a bit too much?
I think the break does them some good, to be honest. I mean, they've been on a long, long run of success, but they haven't really been playing that well for a while. So
Oh,
the
they had a pretty
break they
decent win
took
against City
pressure.
last week, the week before.
Oh, excusing that. Been playing
Yeah, apart from
terribly,
that, yeah, yeah.
terribly well. They'd kind of been winning a lot of games 2-1, 1-0, not in the same sparkling form they showed earlier in the year or in that Man City game. So the break might just freshen them up a bit for the run home. But it's probably more about the other contenders and what happens to them. Arsenal have got the replay against Hull now. They've got well, they won't be in the Champions League too much longer, um, but they've got more games. So
And
it's probably but they get more rest and their opponents get more tired, apparently.
and they
Well,
face Barcelona as well, which could affect them psychologically.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, are
and
they
and they've
facing Barcelona or
Arsenal, yeah, they've got Barcelona.
yeah? Oh, they're gonna
Oh,
get smashed.
Well, it looks like they're more scared of our keeper than Barcelona at this rate, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But speaking of Leicester's rivals, Spurs got a great win against City, and I think most people were expecting City to win that one because Aguero loves a day out against Spurs. But um, without Leicester in the picture, Spurs would be the story everyone was talking about because they've had a terrific season and sit in second place, only 2 points behind Leicester. Um, so I would almost suggest that Spurs are more likely to win the title than Arsenal on the fact that Spurs have had a much more consistent season despite the fact they sit level on points. I mean, Arsenal just seem to be dropping points to lower clubs a bit more often than I think Spurs do, and Spurs have just looked a much more well-rounded outfit.
So we're looking at the top four. We've got a club that's never been this high before. We've got and then three clubs who drop points and are perennial chokers.
So we've got a club that's never been this high before, and then we've
Leicester.
also got. I was gonna make a joke about Arsenal never really doing too well, but they're above fourth. They're doing well.
Well, they need oxygen masks as well.
But that's the thing. I mean,
What?
City have looked shaky ever since it was announced that Pellegrini was leaving at the end of the season. Um, so
They
I
Even
sh-
before then.
yeah,
They should have held off announcing it. I mean, you kind of got a manager who really has no discipline over the squad now. He can't yell and scream at them because the new manager will just come in at the end of the season.
yeah.
So it's kind of like the players really just stopped giving a shit. Same
So,
as United, just we haven't announced our new manager yet.
so who are you
You know
guys
what?
tipping? Sorry, yeah, go Bayan.
What I find amazing about Spurs season and it speaks to their consistency is outside of Ericsson missing the first few games of the season, have they had anyone injured like all
Uh,
year?
that's a good question. Well, they've
Had
got
It
Vertonghen
seems
out at the
like
moment.
they've had.
I
He's
think
not
they've
that much
had
top
odd
anyway.
injuries for like a week or two, but nothing real major.
Vertonghen's the only major one I can think of at the moment.
I mean,
You
if those
just think
clubs had United's
you just
injuries, that'd be relegation.
well, if I mean you take Kane out of that side, that'd really struggle.
Well, yeah, who'd be their backup striker? I can't think of who.
Chadley. Chadley plays up
Jeez.
front.
Really?
No, or Son, but he's
Right.
more
Yeah.
attacking mid. But yeah,
That's
they
amazing when
don't
you
have
think about it.
they don't have a reserve out and out striker. And you think if Kane gets anything and he's out for a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
they'd be in real strife. But
They'd have to play
I
pretty
just
much a
give
false nine,
credit
wouldn't
to
they?
their fitness stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
give some credit to their
And it's the common
fitness
theme
stuff.
of Leicester and Spurs both having a pretty above average seasons, and it's because they've managed to keep their squad so fit.
Yeah, definitely.
But I saw an interesting thing there. We think Leicester's had a good season and all that, but literally when
They've
English
had an alright
sides
season, yeah.
were the top of the world in terms of Champions
Yeah.
League and all that, do you know where they'd be on the ladder at this time of the year?
In terms of their points total.
They'd be third, behind with like 7 points to the first place side.
So
which is
as in
United.
so as in back in like what was it like 08 or so when you
Yeah,
guys
08, 09. Villa
Yeah.
was roughly the same position as Leicester, with same points and everything, but they dropped massively. So
That being said, it would still be remarkable to have them at third in that season, but I get the point you're making. Yeah, the points
Yeah.
total is a lot lower this season than normal. I think was it the 08-09 season where Liverpool lost 2 games for the season and came second.
So
Yeah.
many melts. And we won
Drew
the
too many
Champions League
games.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. But Benitez totally had his facts Kevin Keegan meltdown moment. So good.
Who would you guys tip now for the title?
I'll take Spurs. I reckon Leicester, there's still a huge chance of them dropping off. I just see it coming. Just one injury to Vardy or Mahrez. It's over for them, I reckon.
Even though Jats is insufferable, please Leicester win the league. Spurs fans have just come out of the woodwork from nowhere. They've been in hibernation, and they come out talking about their bloody perennial Champions League club, and yeah, the Arsenal. No, Other than-
You know what?
fans can't win.
Let's
from
hope
here, so
United.
let's all go for Leicester.
Yeah.
Let's hope United sacks Van Gaal, get Jose in. Jose weaves some magic. Title. So
12
United
points
again.
behind, not too far behind. You made that
United
call last
again.
podcast.
He'd do well to win the title with the United reserve team that's been put out there at the moment. To be honest, maybe like a full strength United, but well, I genuinely think if Mourinho did come in, say before Christmas, say November, December, then I don't see there'd be any reason why United couldn't be up there at the top under Mourinho. But I don't think Mourinho's going to take it until the summer. But he will be the next United manager, without doubt.
Yeah. We've had a lot of football this week as well. We've had Europa and Champions League as well as FA Cup. We've already talked a little bit about the Europa, but in the Champions League, PSG got a 2-1 win over Chelsea. And what was the other one? Was it Real Madrid beat Roma 2-0?
Roma, I thought it was 3-0 or 4-0.
Not sure.
I'm thinking
I thought
a
it was
different
only
result.
I think it was only
I was
2-0.
pretty sure it was 2-0.
Um,
It's outdoor.
do we see Chelsea is still getting through in that match? Because they're playing at home in the second leg now, aren't they?
Yeah, but PSG
Yeah.
did beat them last year, despite with 10 men.
The away goal should help them though.
True, but again, I reckon PSG just might win it.
David Luiz goal. He's such a fucking
He
shithead.
scored last year against them, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's terrible. He was terrible with it defensively
He's-
against Chelsea. But
I
then,
can't believe he and Ivanovic were in the same defence.
oh,
I can't believe they
bad.
got 50 million for him.
Yeah. Where's the checkbook for Ivanovic then? We also had the FA Cup games, which you guys are playing in the morning, so we can kind of preview that one as well. But we also had some decent results with Chelsea getting over the Man City reserves 5-1, and West Ham beating Blackburn by the same margin. Palace with a bit of an upset against Spurs in a 1-0 win, and I think it's their first sixth round appearance in about 20 years or so. I think Pardew might have been in the side when they made the final. We also had Everton beating Bournemouth 2-0 and Watford getting up 1-0 against Leeds with by all reports, a pretty dodgy own goal. In the Reading match, they won 3-1, and I can't remember which player it was, got hit by a coin from his own supporters.
Chris Brunt.
Brunt, was it Brunt? Yeah. Which is pretty disappointing to see, because, I mean...
And it's a waste of money.
In any situation, but particularly because he's been at that club for a fair while, so I would have thought he'd be pretty well regarded by the fans.
Did you hear what he did though? Like he went over there, took off his shirt, and gave it to a little girl in the front row, and then someone threw a coin at him.
And have you seen the footage of the guy? He got a fair talking to by the other West Brom supporters who saw him do it.
There was like a brawl in that end.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think they thought it was James McLean. That's the way it was initially. That was the way it was initially reported, though.
Right.
And then later on, it came out that it was Chris Brunt. It wasn't James McLean.
They probably thought,
But I think
exactly right.
We thought it was him, threw a coin, and then there was a bit of a rumble.
And then obviously the big result from the round was my mob holding Arsenal to a 0-0 draw and a pretty ridiculous performance from Jakubovic, who I don't know if you guys have seen the highlights, but he put in one of the displays of his career with about I think the stat was 17 saves or 19 saves, which was a record at the Emirates this season. And it was our first clean sheet against them since 1915.
And one look at the scoreboard where it's like, whoo.
Yeah, it's like burn his fingertips saving from the free kick.
West Ham gave Blackburn a smashing.
5-1, yeah, Pyatt scored 2 goals in that one, and I think Emenike as well.
Eden Hazard managed to score a goal.
Yeah, well, he can score it against the under-21s.
City reserves.
It's a start. It's building blocks, you know.
So it'll be interesting.
He's so leaving.
Yeah.
He's so leaving end of the year.
He's made comments that he wants to go to PSG, hasn't he? He's invited speculation.
It's either PSG or Real Madrid.
He's basically, done the old stool, come and get me, play.
Yeah.
If a really big club in a really nice city wants to buy me, I'd have to consider it.
He's just peak lazy, though. He's just a lazy, soft footballer.
And that's the thing, is
He
this
has
Chelsea
shit kicked out of him every week, to be fair.
This season has exposed a lot of the Chelsea players as very soft, I think. And we've spoken about it before, but Willian is basically the only Chelsea player this season who can hold his head high for the way he played when they were struggling.
Aspilicueta, maybe.
Yeah, him as well. Courtois, maybe. I mean, he hasn't looked too bad. But...
He wasn't there.
Well, that's true. He was injured for a while. Yeah. So it is an interesting one. Arsenal fans have gotten quite salty about the fact that they have to fit in another game against Hull in their very, very hectic and very, very busy schedule, but seem to have forgotten the fact that we've actually played just as many games as them this season, and assuming that Arsenal get thrashed by Barcelona, which everyone knows will happen, we actually have more games remaining on our schedule than they do.
Yeah, but they're facing Messi. They have the psychological edge. They're going to get psychologically destroyed. I mean, Messi, let's face it, Per Mertesacker like a giant tree against a chainsaw.
Is Gabriel going to be fit for that? Because I know he wasn't fit for our match, but I'm not sure when he's due back.
He's average anyway.
Yeah.
But, if rather than melting over how many games they've got, maybe they should have tried a bit harder against your mob.
Yeah, well, did you see Sanchez when he came on? He was hitting them into Rosette. He literally, I think his first 3 touches, one of them he tried to pass it and it ended up at the feet of Alex Bruce. Once he tried to shoot and it went into about Rosette. And then another one, I think he tried to get around one of our defenders and just completely lost the ball. And he just had an absolutely terrible game. The Arsenal
Lead
fans
one footballer, mate.
Yeah, well, the Arsenal fans were pretty happy when he was warming up to come on, and then were pretty upset when he actually got on the pitch.
I know there was like some random melts and rants on Arsenal fan TV. That was also pretty funny.
So
It's
that'll
always
be an
the best.
interesting replay. I think the word is that the replay, because it can't be on the same night as the Champions League games, is likely to be on a Monday night after the North London derby.
It
So they'll
says Tuesday on Google.
it's saying that at the moment, but I have a feeling they can't do it on the Tuesday because of the Champions League.
They could,
That'd be
if
Well,
the
they
FA,
could,
Tuesday in the
but
morning.
they just wouldn't televise it.
if the FA do suck up, they can do it.
But they can't televise it.
So who cares?
Well, the TV markets will probably, and the fact that there's been no other draws doesn't help the fact. So
Give it just wait. There'll soon be a Shrewsbury United replay.
yeah, well, I know in 2014 when we made our run to the final, we had to play Brighton on the Monday night, 2 days after playing in the league. So I think that might be the case, which would be quite beneficial for us because we play on the Thursday, and yeah, and then Arsenal play on the Saturday. So who knows? Could be an interesting replay. But yeah, so you guys are playing in the morning. What sort of side are you guys going to put out?
Here's what I want. No messing around with the centre backs. You do not fuck with the spine of the team. I mean, keep Blind and Smalling together in the middle. Have two young fullbacks because at least you have two experienced players covering. Put Morgan Schneiderlin as a number 6. Put Ander Herrera next to him. Give one match a license to do whatever the hell he wants. Get two pacey wingers. Put Martial on the left. Put Memphis as the striker. And goals. Just do not mess with the centre backs because that is just bad news.
What league is Strawberry Town in this year?
League 3 or 2 or A League.
I think they're League One.
Oh dear. It shouldn't matter, but it will, and we're in that poor form. Although talking about injuries, so I haven't even seen how long De Gea's out for, but he's definitely not playing this game.
Is De Gea injured as well?
Yeah, he did something.
Yeah, he
I missed that
twisted
one.
his knee in the warm up before Midgetland.
Oh
We didn't
God!
we didn't
Did he-
even
did
have
he-
a keeper on the bench.
Didn't
So
you? What did
Romero
you-
went in goal. Romero
Yeah.
went in goal, and then there was no other keeper in the squad
Oh, God.
because Sam Johnson, our
He's at
third
Preston.
keeper, got injured.
Yeah.
So came back from Preston.
Oh, that's
Joel
right.
Pereira has already played in the cup, so he's cup side this year. So we've got like our under 17 keeper Dean Henderson recalled from Stockport on
Do you still
loan, and he's
have,
on the bench now.
Do you still have Ben Amos? Is he still at the club? Or did
No, he left
No,
it
he's
pissed
just
off.
sold it to
He was terrible.
It's
He
good
was-
though that we have Ramiro because he's possibly the most stoned player in the league.
He's so chilled, it's not funny.
He,
Yeah.
he probably like
He's-
sees the goal line and like, oh, Coke. He's like so relaxed. I've never seen him
He's
angry.
crazy relaxed. He doesn't talk to his defenders at all.
Is De Gea injured, or did he just kind of do the warm up and
No,
think,
he's-
"Stuff this, I don't want to play"?
Injured.
Yeah, he's injured properly.
Ah,
In
dear.
fact, I was watching it on BT Sport, and they had it live. They had vision behind the goals as he was warming up, and he's gone down to make a regulation save, and his studs have got caught. And he was he didn't look in pain. He just looked really fucking angry, and then he's hobbled off, and they're going, "Oh, they're going to do a fitness test," and he's ruled out.
Jeez.
So, like halfway, it started the second half. Do you remember when, or if you saw it just before United scored, had a shocking defensive error, and there were about 2 Midgetland players through one-on-one from the halfway line. I don't think Paddy McNair knew that, you're not offside if you're in your own half. And I thought, oh, fuck, here we go. Romero's going to bring him down, get sent off, and then we're going to have, like, Marshall in goal. But thankfully not. But,
Who would you put it? Would it be Smalling? Do you reckon?
I
I
don't think we can afford him to. I think we need him out there.
Yeah. Because I know
Memphis, I reckon.
when we had to do it, we put
Memphis
in
is-
yeah, Memphis. We had to put Huddleston in goal, and Huddleston's at least a decent size and shape for a goalkeeper because he's big and sturdy. So I guess you could put like a centre back or someone like that, or Carrick or someone. I don't know.
Yeah, Carrot should be up there. He probably needs to play against Strawberry Town.
Yeah.
But But oh mate, it's not going to get better before it gets worse. Under Van Hal, I can see this going to a replay, and I feel sorry for Marshall, to be honest. It's funny that you'd think a 19-year-old who just got brought in from the French league is by far our best player. He's playing with a whole bunch of potatoes at the moment. We need Schweinsteiger back, something chronic. There's no leadership in the team.
When's Schweinsteiger due back?
We don't know. He's too busy watching tennis. Then again, his girlfriend is impossibly hot, so I don't blame him.
Yeah, he's been kind of indefinitely, TBA, return date, for about 2 months now. But it's not even him as a player. We just need a leader.
Which is why it's good that we're getting Ibrahimovic.
And it's also good that you don't have a very tough match this weekend in the Premier League. And we'll move on to those previews now. And you guys do have Arsenal at home.
Probably roll.
You'll probably what?
Roll them like 3-0 or something.
Well, I was going to say, the way that Arsenal plays the game, they beat the leaders, and then they'll lose to the minnows, so they'll probably lose to you guys.
No, we'll beat them because Arsenal were just terrible at Old Trafford. Wenger still has demons in his head.
So you guys think you guys will win?
Somehow we'll pull a victory out of this, despite all logic saying Arsenal should win. And I've known Arsenal fans, and they're saying the same.
So it's just
2-1.
2-1?
United.
2-1 United.
I might go a 1-1 draw in that one. They usually seem to be low-scoring games between you guys, in recent times at least.
Oh no, there was an 8-2 one a few years ago.
Well, a few years ago now, yeah. That's true. Since then. We've also got Big Sam up against his old mob when West Ham hosts Sunderland in the early game.
West Ham to smash Sunderland 4-0.
Pyatt's back in a bit of form now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big win for West Ham in that one, probably. Leicester at home to Norwich. Should get back to winning ways.
Leicester, 3-0.
2-1. Leicester. They don't play as well against the shit teams as they do against good teams. They rely on the good teams to, keep possession and push up. Whereas sometimes against the terrible ones, or the minnows, neither of them will attack.
Yeah. Is that why they only got a 1-1 draw against United?
That's for sure. Dominated.
I'm laying into you tonight.
We gave them one chance all the game, and that shit truck FIFA Vardy scored. Oh god. Yeah, fair track tonight. I don't mind it though.
Southampton are at home to Chelsea, and Southampton have actually looked pretty good since Fraser Forster's been back in goal. And Chelsea still haven't actually lost in the league under Hiddink. But maybe this could be the game that they drop the win.
1-1.
3-1 Chelsea.
Yeah. I might go 2-0 Southampton in that one. See how that one pans out. Yeah. I think Southampton at home. I called the Southampton win against Arsenal at home. I'm not allowed to bet. I'm not allowed to bet in February. I'm on a ban, a self-imposed ban. But
a monetary bet.
A sig bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. When Southampton hosted Arsenal, you guys thought I was crazy for thinking Southampton would win that one, and I believe they won that 3-0. Was it 3-0? I think, or 4-0. Stoke at home to Aston Villa, and I don't think it could get much worse for Villa, could it?
2-0 Stoke. Avert your eyes for this game, though. Not worth watching.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be worth watching.
I think Arnautovic. I think he'll score 4.
He strikes me as a big game player because he seems to have got a lot of his goals against some of the bigger sides, and I don't watch Stoke all that often. I can't say. But I don't know how he plays against these smaller clubs and whether he really bothers with them. So we'll see. Yeah, I think Stoke will win that easy though. Probably 3-0 or something like that. Watford at home to Bournemouth, the battle of the two promoted clubs. If Watford win that, they would be safe from relegation. They'd be on 39 points. Whereas if Bournemouth wins that, they're up to 31 points, and they also start to get close to that safety mark. So it's a big game for both clubs, really.
I'll go Watford 2-0.
Bournemouth were good in the cup against Everton, but they missed a penalty, and then Everton went and scored 2 early goals in the second half. But I reckon Troy Deeney might do well against their defence, so I will go 1-0 Watford.
West Brom at home to Palace. See if Brunt's recovered from the injury. See if he lines up, because he's borne the brunt of a bit of stick from the West Brom fans, but had to sneak that had to sneak that pun in there somewhere. But at home to Palace. Palace have been looking a little better lately. They got a goal against Watford and they got a win against Spurs. Can they do it in the league, and can they get a victory?
I'll go Palace 1-0.
Yannick Bolasie is back.
Ah, your man.
My man, Bolasie. Palace will win 2-0.
We've already covered United Arsenal, and then the other game on the Sunday night, apart from the cup final, which we'll talk about in a second, is Spurs hosting Swansea. Spurs are in the mood, I think, at the moment, so I think they should do that pretty easily.
Yeah, Spurs 3-0.
Swansea 2-1.
Oh. Hang on a minute. Hang on. We're doing a sig bet on the Southampton-Chelsea game. I'd rather take the Spurs in this one.
No.
All right. So why do you think Swansea will win that one?
It'd seem very
because
Spurs,
Tottenham fans are annoying twats.
I was about to ask if that's the reason.
Well, a little bit. In fact, you know what? They're a lot better in real life than guys like JD. And
it's a bit slack on JD. I think JD's one of the better ones.
There's been a few who kind of come out of the woodwork who I haven't seen before who are now commenting like they've been around for a while.
JD's username reminds me too much of Jod, so I sometimes confuse the pair, which isn't too good for him, I don't think.
Yeah, that probably reads more into what I was saying before. Yeah, look, I just think it's about time that Spurs do something Spursy, and this would be very Spursy, wouldn't it, to go and lose to Swansea? Andre, are you? Maybe a poor performance from Alderweireld, and Tito Loris gets beaten at his near post every couple of weeks anyway. So
De Gea is better than Loris. Always has been, always will be. Best in the world,
It's
De
like-
Gea.
no one's ever really rated Loris as a top 2 keeper in the league until Spurs have suddenly started winning this year. So it probably says more about Alderweireld and their defence than it does about him.
And then the big game for the weekend between Liverpool and Manchester City is the League Cup final for a spot in the Europa League. I mean, Liverpool fans must be wetting their lips at the thought of this. You know, a bit of silverware into the Europa League for another year. Who do you guys see winning that one?
The big footy board, because either way we're going to see either Liverpool fans melt or City losers, which would make some Spurs fans very happy.
Well, and also a certain... who does he support? Who does Rats of Tobruk support?
Liverpool.
Liverpool? Ah, well, there you go. Maybe he's just getting in the mood for the weekend.
He gets booed off his own board. I've seen.
In fairness, he came up with some very comprehensive arguments against Mumba on the board, which were very interesting to read.
Very detailed.
Yeah. So who do we think's gonna? So who do you think's gonna win, Bojan?
Oh, this is a battle of two teams with no heart. I just know Liverpool are gonna sneak it. It'll be 1-0. It'll be a bloody abomination of a game. I think they get Europa League even if they lose, don't they?
No, they've removed that, I think.
I removed that. Yeah, it's funny because even after a subpar year, the Man City fans will still class it as a success if they win this minnow comp. So I probably prefer that Liverpool win.
I can just
Find
imagine
Liverpool.
it. City out of the FA Cup now. They'll probably go out of the Champions League before long. Out of the Premier League.
Concentrate on the
title
League
race.
Cup.
Yep.
Yeah, Liverpool to sneak it.
Yeah, I think Liverpool are in the mood for a few goals, so they might be able to sneak it. And I think they lined up pretty well against City the last time they played. So yeah, I'd probably back them in this one. Um, any closing thoughts, boys?
Just put me out of my misery. Would try to get rid of Van Gaal or some serious. Like, I'll be watching the game. It'll be tonight for me, throwing on a few guys, but it needs to change. It
I
needs
tell
to.
you what,
It should have changed months ago, but it needs to change right now.
don't bother with the game. Just get a game of FIFA going with Nick Powell. I'm sure he'll be online.
Mate, no, but like, fair dinkum, that'd be more enjoyable.
It would
Been far
be.
more enjoyable.
I
He's
love
actually
his.
pretty good at it. I've seen him on FIFA.
Oh,
He
yeah.
posts screenshots of him beating Barca and Real Madrid with crew. He's still a crew fan.
All
And he
right.
like smash him 6-0 and like world class.
Yeah. He actually looked pretty
Uh,
tidy for us, I must admit, when he came on, or when he played. I think he's definitely lacking in match fitness, but he was very enthusiastic and running around, and he's a flair player though. You can just everything he was trying had a bit of flair to it, whether it was a back heel pass or a nutmeg of an Arsenal player or a step around or something like that. Um,
he's got a lot of talent. If he can put it all together and stay fit, then he'll be an excellent player.
he
I'll be really disappointed if United don't re-sign him.
he reminds me a little bit of Ben Arthur in the sense that he has a little bit of an attitude problem, but if he can pull it all together, he has enough talent that he can become a fantastic player.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um,
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how he goes. Hopefully he'll get a bit more game time. I think we've got Ipswich Wednesday morning when Arsenal face Barcelona. So see if he makes any appearance in that match. But yeah, thanks for coming on, boys,
No worries.
No worries, mate.
and thanks everyone for listening in. And until next time, hope your side wins, and we'll see you on the forum.